Um, Good day, everyone. Welcome to Rise once again. It's your host, Sinalo Matubatuba, and today I have a special guest by the name of Sivuyile Mpateni. I hope I said that correctly.
Yes,
And
very much so.
yeah, so if you may all know, there's an organization or academy called Sivuyile Mentorship Academy. And today we have the brains behind that. Sivuyile is the one that started the SMA, Sivuyile Mentorship Academy, and he will be sharing, his journey and what he
Yeah.
believes is essential in having such. And yeah, just to give us, pearls of wisdom. I believe he's been running this for some time now. How are you,
Yeah.
Sivuyile?
I am doing very well. Thank you so much for inviting me. I think this is my very first podcast interview that I'm doing. So I'm really, really honored. Thank you so much for inviting me to chat to your audience.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Without wasting time, would you like just briefly take us through your journey, how you started, your background, and so on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure. So I was born and bred in the Eastern Cape, Xhosa, right? But attended boarding school from very early on in my childhood, I think from grade five up until matric, right? And I then went to the University of the Free State to pursue my LLB qualification. And yeah, I think after that, I obviously started my articles, and maybe we'll get into that later on in the podcast at one of the big five law firms. And while I was still studying, I started SMA, which, most people now know, but we had, been serving students under a different name at the time. And then we rebranded to Sivuyile Mentorship Academy. But we'll get into all those nitty-gritties, I hope.
So that's quite interesting. So what was the pivotal moment, or should I say, what really propelled you to start SMA? Because I believe that whilst as a student you were mentoring, but this was
Mm,
on a part-time basis. But then you moved
mm,
on from having a full career as, I'll say, a lawyer
yes.
to running
Yes.
this initiative, or should I say, it's bigger than an initiative. I think it's bigger than you at this point. But how did that come about?
I think it's quite interesting. So in 2018, I had an opportunity to attend vet work at CDH in Johannesburg. And, that was obviously an amazing experience. And we're all trying to fight to get into articles of clerkship. And that was the only thing on my mind, trying to secure articles
Yeah.
so that by the time I graduated, I had a job. So I was very focused on that. I did my vet work with CDH and had my final interview with the firm on the last day of the program. Went back to school, and about a week later, I got a call from the then graduate recruitment manager, Boipelo Matodlana. I believe she has since moved to Baker McKenzie now. And, the call was basically informing me that I had signed with the firm, and I was obviously very ecstatic, right? That I was going to be starting my articles with a very reputable law firm.
Yeah.
And an interesting thing happened when I went back to school. I think it coincided with me receiving a very prestigious scholarship. And I remember being up on the university's website, right? So a lot of my colleagues and friends knew about my scholarship and the fact that I had signed with a top law firm. And I started, having close friends reaching out to me for like assistance. So one would come and say, Sivu, I have an interview coming up with this law firm. Could you, help prep me with a mock interview? Someone else would maybe need assistance with like cover letter drafting. I would assist with a lot of CV revamps. And, it started off like that. And then I just went back to the drawing board because I knew that wasn't going to be sustainable for me. I was working with quite a sizable number of not just my friends, but people were just reaching out. And I was very graceful to say, okay, no, let's figure things out, right? Because they obviously knew that I had already traveled the road. And so I went back to the drawing board and asked myself, Sivu, how can you still be of service to people, right? How can you still lift as you rise without necessarily compromising your time? Because remember, I've got this contract from CDH and I've got my clause there and it says, we need you to maintain this average. And so I was just like, sure, if I'm going to be continuing with this one-on-ones, that might, to some degree impact my academic performance because now it's less time on schoolwork. And the idea of starting some group coaching of some sorts was birthed from that. So I started SMP, were known as the Sivuyile Mentorship Program. And I remember getting about 15 applications. I had this very formal screening process where I invited the 15 applicants to my residence, right? And I remember giving them some case law to present, and I did some interviews. I ended up taking about 8. Interestingly, one of my, and I think you would know him, Sinalo, Minenhle Shabalala.
Mini.
He's at a law firm. Yes,
Yes, I
Mini.
know Mini.
Um,
Yes.
he, yeah, he was one of my very first cohort students, right? Who I
Wow.
worked with and helped sign to Webaway. And so that is how SMA started. But we're very much online and just based at the University of the Free State because we're doing in-person training sessions and workshops. And then
Yeah.
an interesting thing happened in 2020, right? When COVID hit us, I was in my final year. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what does this mean for SMA? Because we're having in-person sessions. And all of a sudden, we were presented with, technology and this platform, Zoom, Microsoft Teams. And I said to myself, we need to go digital, right? We need to just
Yeah.
have an online presence. We can't stop because, we were confronted with COVID at the time. And I remember speaking to my team to sort of, open applications up, but not just to students at the University of the Free State. Now we're just going to open it to anyone.
Nationally.
And yeah, nationally. And,
Nationally.
I remember calculating our increase in memberships. It was literally, I'm not even kidding, close to 1,000%
Yo.
increase, right? Just in memberships of, people just wanting to sign up because we already had a social media platforms going on for us. We had a few success stories. And people are just interested in joining and finding out how they can get help to secure vacation work and articles. And since then, we've only just been on an upward trajectory. I'm not saying we haven't had challenges, but if you told me back then that SMA would become what it has become today, I would have literally laughed in your face and ran for the hills because this was never part of the plan at
Yeah.
all, right? I had told myself that I'm going to do my articles, I'm going to become some badass lawyer, and that was going to be it. But I guess the universe, the cosmos, God, whatever you want to call it, had a
The
different
plans. Yeah.
purpose for my life, and we're here now.
No, that is amazing. I'm very much enthusiastic and passionate
Mm,
about professional development. So whenever I
yes.
see your work as SMA, like it really excites me, because it's
Yeah.
things that I'm into, filling other people's cups. And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
spoke about challenges, and I wanted to know, year after year, how do you keep that fire going? Because yes, in as much as you will have a team that plays a supportive role, you are
Mm,
the leader, you are the engine that drives the ship. So how do you keep the fire going?
yeah. You know, I think for me, it's just seeing the transformation, right? In the lives of the students that we're touching and impacting. So that fuels me every day. Like I get DM'd, we've got WhatsApp groups, students coming to me and saying, Sivu, I've signed my article. Sivu, I've just been invited to an interview with this law firm. Even if it's as little as Sivu, I've just been invited to a psychometric assessment. That means so much to me, right? Because one thing I've also come to understand is that mentorship is a ripple effect, right? If you can impact one person, they can in turn go and inspire other people and help others as well. So that for me is what keeps me going, right? I get messages where people are just saying, you need to keep on doing this, right? This is bigger than yourself. It's not just about you. You are transforming lives. And it's really just that energy which in turn just fuels me to keep on doing what I'm doing with SMA. But I'm also just looking back in my early childhood and reflecting. And for me, it has always sort of been following the breadcrumbs, because from a very young age, from 12, I was obviously in boarding school at some point, and I remember just, playing school with the young ones and, having them attend classes, and I would do like maths or do natural sciences, and I would buy like sweets and, chocolate and give out to the kids. And I've always had this vision, rather, of wanting to start a school, funny enough, like from a very young age, before I even knew that I would go on and pursue law as a career.
Yeah.
That has always been in me. And I guess it's just somehow the universe connecting the dots for me, in this format that it is in now,
Yes.
which is SMA. So I've always had a knack for
For
mentorship and just helping people and teaching. Most importantly, I think that is my calling in this world.
Yeah. And I must commend you because I've noticed, I know a few people who are helping you behind the scenes, and it's so
Yes.
beautiful because we tend to want to, hold on to ownership and not open up and collaborate with people. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's a fear of, people taking things or taking over our
Right.
ideas, but I've always appreciated the value of collaboration. And I
Yes.
like how you have incorporated that in SMA, in terms of your social media, in terms of your planning. Funny
Yeah.
enough, when I was contacted for the speaking engagement earlier on this year, I was like,
Yes. Yes.
I was thinking to myself that this guy has a whole team, like speaking on his behalf. So he's a VIP,
That's it.
But um, the effect of that is that you're also helping through SMA, other people are also honing their own skills in in
Yeah.
in different areas like communication, digital media, there are different things
Mm.
that you're opening people up to. And I really
Yeah.
have to commend you to that. And I would say that is the internal effect of SMA. And then there's
Yeah.
the external effect, which, sees many students, around South Africa being mentored,
Mm.
So moving on, we spoke about challenges. What is that one defining challenge that you and SMA team have come up or have been confronted with and you had to resolve, and how did you guys go on to resolve it?
Yeah. I think that's a great question. For me, I would say maybe starting out, right, with very like limited resources, while at the same time trying to like gain credibility in the market, right? It was extremely difficult to do, and just gaining the trust of law firms and some of the organizations we partner with. So that was incredibly difficult for me because we didn't have a lot of success stories, and a lot of people see mentorship as an optional thing, like it's a not really important. Why, what are you trying to achieve here? And it's so important because you can't do this alone, right? Especially for people coming from underprivileged backgrounds, which we also assist at SMA. And again, maybe for me, it's just, gaining the trust of law firms starting out, but now we're very recognized. I know almost all of the recruiters from the major law firms. And maybe another challenge is, what would I say another challenge is, man? Um, Maybe the commitment from the students. Some of the students that we work with, they come in thinking this is just going to be like easy and we're going to be submitting applications on their behalf. That's not something we do, right? And we don't want to keep people at SMA. We want to have you come in, but we also want you out. We want you to go and secure articles. So we've struggled quite a bit with sort of finding a formula on making people, exit the academy and find jobs and not become ancestors of SMA. And so what we've been
Okay.
trying to do is reach out to recruitment agencies, right, that are going to partner with us and sort of source students from the academy, because a lot of people tend to think sometimes that we're a recruitment agency. We're not a recruitment agency. So that's the biggest challenge that we are also just trying to overcome now and make, this as seamless as possible and help people find jobs, really.
So I would imagine that your focus is not just university students, but also high school students who are going into university, especially people who have an interest in studying law, right?
Well, not quite. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
in
that
the
is a
pipeline. So it's just,
future. Oh, okay, okay. But
yeah.
for the people that SMA serves, which is largely university students, right?
Mm,
What is that one thing in your experience as being, the leader of SMA
mhm,
that you think is something that people consider insignificant, but is quite significant? What's that one thing that you've noticed that it's this silent killer, within
mhm,
that these young people need in navigating the
mm.
professional space and in going into this professional space?
Yeah. Look, so for one, mentorship, right? Very, very important. I can't remember the quote now. I think it says something like, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with people, right?
Yes.
So, and another important aspect is just around networking, right? And I've also come to understand that networking isn't about who you know necessarily, right? It's about who knows you and the value that you are bringing. Okay. So a lot of people take that lightly. It's so important, right, to be active on social media platforms like LinkedIn, for example. Some of our students inside the academy have literally secured jobs through LinkedIn. And some of the students come in and be like, well, do I really need a LinkedIn profile? Yes, you do, right? If you're serious about your professional development, you need to be very active on LinkedIn. You need to be connecting with industry leaders. You need to be connecting with your alumni. You need to be connecting with those law firms. You just need to be proactive, right? And just embrace growth. Opportunities are not going to come to you. You need to create opportunities yourself. And I find that a lot of young people these days really just take that lightly, that it's not going to be easy for everyone, but if you want to make things happen, you just need to be out there and shifting ground for yourself. No one is going to come and save you. You need to be open to opportunities at all times, right? Networking, forming part of mentorship programs. It doesn't have to be SMA. There's quite a lot actually of mentorship programs out there. Shout out to Sinabo Weekend, your woman-in-law, Naomi. I can mention quite a lot. So that's what I would say, Sinalo.
And in terms of accessibility of
Yeah.
SMA, I had a brief conversation with a career manager or career services manager in one of the universities.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually the biggest thing is a gap in information. You know,
Yes.
I don't know how we could bridge that, especially in our universities. How
Mm.
have you as SMA actually, you know, went on to ensure that you guys are as exposed as you can be and you try and bridge that gap of a lack of information? Because you might
Yeah.
think that students are ignorant, but you find out that they actually don't know of,
Yeah. Yeah.
professional development platforms and initiatives such as SMA, such as
Yeah.
this NACO Weekend.
Yeah.
Um, so how have you as, SMA went through and try to curb this challenge?
Yeah. Look, it's a work in progress, right? It doesn't matter how great an organization SMA is, but if students don't know that we exist, then it's sort of like pointless, right? So we're still trying to work on that, our marketing. We don't have a marketing department at SMA, right? Our team does everything. And
Okay.
so that's something we're still trying to set a budget for and get someone who's going to do our marketing, but also try and maybe build relationships with universities as well. So that's one of my biggest goals for 2025. Reaching out to not just your Ivy League universities, but you look at Regenesis, you look at Varsity College, IIE, MSA, UNISA, those institutions. I think there's a big market there, and we could do great things. Um, and another thing for me, when it comes to lack of information, I get that some universities have career services departments, right, where you can go in for like a mock interview, or
Have
they can
you
draft like a
a CV
CV
for
for
you?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have very strong views on that, right? Because as SMA, we're very niche in the work that we do, meaning we just focus on legal. We've started the market. We understand what law firms are looking for. When you're going to a career services department, those people are not just trained to assist you as a law student, right? There's so many faculties. You're looking at EMS, you're looking at natural and agricultural sciences, you're looking at law, you're looking at humanities faculty. So some of the biggest challenges are just around how are you going to assist a law student to tailor their applications to the standard that a law firm requires? Because if I'm going to ask a career services person what is paginating or what is serving or what is filing, they don't understand that,
Yeah.
right? And when you're going to draft a CV, those are some of the key terminology ATS, the applicant tracking system, needs to pick up. So it's going to be very generic, right? And how they're going to assist you with your mock interviews. They don't have real world experience of what it is like to be a candidate attorney or what it is like to be inside a law firm. And that's a huge gap, right? And so if we could infiltrate that market and just say to universities, hey, look, we get that this is what you're doing, but can we also have ground just for your law faculty? And then I'm guessing more people are going to come in from different faculties as well to sort of serve the same purpose, more or less, that SMA is trying to serve. So I think that that's my 2 cents on
Okay.
that.
No,
Yeah,
I totally agree with you that you guys are tailored or you serve a niche area and you
yeah,
know the nuances, you know those small details that law firms are looking for. And I
yeah,
think that is the superpower. You need to know
yeah.
those little details, which
You
make a
have to.
big difference and which lead to people being signed. I think
Yeah.
that is the goal. And with I understand that you said that you don't want to keep people, you don't want ancestors of SMA. I had a very profound engagement with one of my mentors a few years ago, who was
Mm.
very instrumental in getting me where I am today. And this guy said to me, well, I had passed my degree and I went to go show him my transcript. And I said,
Yes.
how can I ever thank you? How can I say thank you? I feel like there's I need to do something, you know?
Yeah,
Said
yeah.
to me, and he said to me, no, I don't want anything, but please do what I did for you for someone else, right? So
I just
I
got chills just from that.
Yeah, so I'm very interested in knowing that in as much as we are trying to have, this impact in reaching as many people as we can, do you not think that there's a reciprocal obligation on those people that, for instance, go through SMA. And I
Mm,
mean, this is in no way compulsory, but as a
yeah,
way to have those people also, give back. And giving back is not only material. By just telling your story, you're inspiring someone else to
yeah,
do better in their own journey.
yeah. Yeah.
what can we do? What can we cultivate? For instance, I've had many people that I've mentored myself, on a
Yeah.
personal capacity. What can we do to have such people and also people who have went through SMA programs to have
Mm.
them give back?
Yeah. Look, I see it as a long-term investment, right? Because to your point, we just have to pay it forward, right? We have to lift as we are rising, and understand that it takes a community, it takes a village, right? And when I'm saying I look at it as a long-term investment, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, some of our alumni are going to be directors at their own law firms, right? And they're going to be taking some of our students at SMA. And we emphasize that quite a lot, actually, in our sessions, that guys, we're helping you. We understand that you're part of the program now, but please go out there and help others as well. I did, touch on it earlier on that mentorship is a ripple effect. When you get help from an organization like SMA, you can't help just be inspired even by the impact that it had on you. Some of our students do come back to me to say, Sivu, I just had the student reach out to me. What can I do, right? Just to pay it forward as well. And we've had them coming in to host mock interviews. I no longer do mock interviews. Now I barely do mock interviews, but we have people coming in to say, can I sit and just conduct a mock interview?
Yeah.
And that's a way of paying it forward, right? Or I can also remember maybe few of our students also coming in to say, well, what do you need? Can we draft cover letters? Can we draft CVs? And that to me is huge, right? For the mere fact that you understand that in order to go far, you can't go far alone. You need to be pulling people. You need to be helping someone get to their dreams as well, in as much as you were helped to get to your own dreams. So paying it forward is very important. And that's something we really do hammer on at SMA. So in whatever shape or form that you can do it, at whatever scale you can do it at, just be there, right, for someone who needs the extra help and the extra push.
Thank you for that. I'm realizing that I've recently introduced these virtual interviews, and
Uh-huh.
I was a bit hesitant with having a paid subscription, but I understand how important that is
Yeah.
because there's so much that we need to share, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, I can see that the basic plan is running out right now in 8 minutes or so. But as we close, we what do you have for the youth of South Africa, as a piece of advice? And this goes for anyone who, is uncertain about, their career journey.
Yeah.
Those that have actually made it, I've realized that when you are in a favorable place, you can easily forget where you come from. And you can easily forget that there are other people who find
Mm.
themselves in the very situation that you were in not so long ago. So what is, something that you can say to those people who, are hopeless and who think that, it's the end for them. They have their degree, they don't see it being of any use to them, and so on.
Yeah. Firstly, you'll be okay. You'll be just fine, right? Let me just start by saying that. But you also just have to be proactive. Guys, you can't sit back and not do anything, right? Um, be proactive, embrace growth. You are going to encounter challenges. Challenges are part of life, right? You can't go through life without having challenges. And so you need to be putting yourselves in spaces, right? Again, find people, find coaches, find mentors, find sponsors, people who are just going to assist you in some shape or form. And it doesn't need to be a paid subscription like SMA, right? Because we are a paid program, but people like you, Sinalo, right? You have a podcast. You're passionate about mentorship, right? Reach out to Sinalo, reach out to Naomi, reach out and just take ownership of your life and create those opportunities for yourself. No one owes you anything, right? No one is going to come and save you. Be your own rescue 911. But if you are having a difficult time, and I get it, right? Maybe securing articles or even getting into a vet work program is really difficult. The needle isn't moving. The definition of insanity by Albert Einstein is doing the same thing the same way and expecting a different result, right? Insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing the same way and somehow expecting a different outcome. And so understanding that ideation, being in this ideation stage without execution is just mere delusion, right? You have to be proactive. You need to get into action. It's not just going to happen for you. And so go out there, build your networks on LinkedIn, speak to people, ask for help. You'd be surprised by how many people are going to say, yes, I would love to have you under my wing and help you get ahead. Even Gege, so I have a very close relationship with Kekeletso, who's now moved
Okay.
to
Yeah.
Broken. Yes, Siva Gang,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
He has people that he's mentoring, right? He has people that he's assisting, secure articles of clerkship. And I love the guy and I love his passion for career coaching and just helping people get through. So reach out to your giggers, reach out to your Sinalos, come and inquire about SMA services and how we can be of assistance. And it's those small steps that you're taking every day that are going to get you to where you want to be.
Thank you so much, Sivuyile.
Yeah,
You are a light that is shining. And I myself, before we started recording, I was sharing
yeah,
that, I did inquire about SMA services as a university student,
yeah, 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 yeah.
a few years ago. So thank you for the work that you have done. Thank you for, availing yourself and actually having these conversations. They're very valuable. They're very important. You are right. We need to go out there. It won't be served on us on a silver platter. We need to be
Yep,
proactive. So,
yeah.
as Rise and as me, Sinalo, I'm very thankful that you've graced us with your presence. And thank you so much. Please do search SMA Sivuyile Mentorship Academy as a student. And yeah, you guys will be blown away. And they are there to help you guys. We are proud promoters of SMA as Rise. But anyways,
Yeah,
Sivuyile, I hope to see you in person soon. But
yeah,
we will speak, and there is a huge potential, and there's a lot that we can do in collaboration.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you very
And
much.
thank you for the work that you do as well, right? I'm always open to collaboration because I sometimes sit